We are Mike and Jeannie, and we restore old houses. In 2021, we moved to South Carolina and bought a 120-year-old Victorian house. Follow along as we put the polish back on this Victorian masterpiece. Hello and welcome back to 1834 Restoration House. I want to say hello especially to all 5 of you who are still left watching this channel. I know it's been a long time since we've done anything. And the reason for that is I injured my knee a while back at work, and I haven't been able to do anything. It's just been excruciating pain, and it's taken a long time to heal. It's finally gotten to the point now where I can move around and it doesn't hurt really bad, and I can do some things, not all things, but it's much better. So we apologize for the long delay in making videos, but here we are. We're going to try something today and see how it goes. Before I get started, I want to cover a little bit of business. We've had a Patreon account for a long time, and a lot of you viewers had suggested we do that to help support the channel. And it was a nice thing to do, and we did have some participation in it, but we really didn't get a whole lot of participation. And now with long delays between videos coming out, we don't know when the next one will be. Jeannie and I feel that maybe we should just close the Patreon and stop taking Patreon support, at least for the time being. We may get back to a point where we're doing a lot more activity, and we have a lot more to offer you guys in the way of content, but right now we're just not putting much out, and we don't feel good about taking Patreon support under those conditions. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to pause all of that, and we can revisit that somewhere down the road. But for now, we're going to put a stop to that. So that said, let's get on to today's video. I was just sitting here and I noticed what looks to be some pieces of anthracite coal sitting here. And we keep finding chunks of it out in the yard. I think that because we have 7 coal-burning fireplaces in the house, it's pretty much inevitable there's going to be some coal around here somewhere. So that's an interesting find. If you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you'll remember that this thing here we used to call the mystery structure because we had no idea what it was for the longest time. And then we spent a little bit of effort trying to dig into its past and its history, and we uncovered all kinds of information about it, which turned out to be that this was a ice box, a big outdoor ice box, which at one time was closed in. And there was a really big tree trunk right here that Jeannie and I had cut a tree down. And I realized in order to do anything out here that I wanted to do, that tree trunk had to come out. And so, well, let me just show you something. I'm standing about 12 feet to the west of the ice box over there. And when we first bought this house, there was a tree right here, and it was kind of in the way. And after we figured out what this was, and we figured out what the history was, we realized that there was supposed to be a building right here. We think it might have been a tractor shed or some kind of storage shed. And so I'd like to restore some of this stuff, but this tree was in the way. And we had cut it down and left a stump big enough that I wouldn't run over it with the mower. Well, a couple years goes by, and I was out here mowing recently, and I came up to this thing and I accidentally bumped it with the tractor bucket, and it moved. And I thought, I wonder. And so I bumped it again, and it started falling over. And so I went around behind and I bumped it again, and it started going this way. So I just gave it a good push, and the thing popped right out of the ground. So that's gone now. Well, that got me to thinking about this stuff over here. So walk with me. This area here used to be absolutely completely overgrown, and every year it's a big struggle to cut the stuff out of here. And so I decided it's time to start digging things out, and that meant tree roots and other plants that are here because this has to be rebuilt. But what about that big trunk that was right up against the ice box? How is that going to work? So I had Jeannie come out with the tractor, and I hooked a chain on it. I wish I would have filmed this. This was so good. And so she took the tractor and gave it a good hard yank, and she just did that several times, and all of a sudden there was this big crack, boom, and the whole thing just came flying out of the ground. Man, I wish you guys could have seen that. It was beautiful. And so I came back here and I dug some of this out and got it pretty well empty, and of course then I messed up my knee and had to stop. but we're making some progress. So all that long-winded explanation to tell you that I found something interesting on the back side over here. Right up here is the trough for the ice box, and it has a pipe right here that we found. And with this pipe, you can either stick a cork in there and keep the water in to keep your milk cold or whatever, or you can pull that drain plug out and let the water come out to the ground. And so that was a really neat find. That's been hidden behind all this stuff all these years. But take a look over here. This is a brick foundation for this whole thing, and the soil used to be right here. After we dug the tree root out, we got down here and we realized that the mortar here is all rotten and missing. And I've kind of been itching to do some masonry anyway after the success up front. So I went, got some new tools and got some mortar and did a little bit of this right here. And you can see it's now nice and solid and has really tied that whole thing back together. So this time I'm going to do it with you guys. I'll grab some tools, mix up some mortar, and we'll get busy. All right, I've got a tub of cement mortar, and I have a brand new trowel because the other one rusted. Shame on me. And this is a pointing tool. It's used for raking joints out. I also had to get a new one because the other one got rusted. And this is one that I haven't had before, and I'm really glad I got this. This is called a tuck point tool. And the way it works is you're able to push the mortar in the joints, and I'll show you that in just a second. But the first thing I need to do is mix some of this up. So I'm just adding a little water, very little. A little bit goes a long way with this stuff. The first little bit of water really is just to kind of get it sort of kind of wet. Kind of like mixing cake batter. So I'll just keep adding little bits at a time until I get it the way I want it to. Now, with this stuff and concrete and all kinds of masonry mix, it's so easy to go too far with it. And just about the time you think it's done, you add that little bit more. If you're not careful, you're going to overdo it, and then it'll be too wet and sloppy. So I'll just keep working it. It's a little bit on the dry side, but it's getting very close to where it needs to be. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a spritz on here, just a spritz. The last time I tried to do that, I put in too much. Now, what I do is I take my tuck pointer and I get some mortar on the trowel, and then I come up against the bricks like this, and I just take that tuck pointer and just start pushing mortar in. Just like that. My goal at this point is not to make it look pretty, but just to fill that joint, get it full of mortar. And you can kind of feel it gets to a point where it just won't take anymore. And I have to go up as well as sideways. These are a little trickier, but the thing is I want to have a 100% fill. No air gaps. And that can be tricky. It's also permissible to come at it from the top and start pushing it in like that. So at that point, one thing that I didn't show you is before I started this process, I came out here with a brush and a hose and I just scrubbed the daylights out of this thing and hosed it off really good because I want to get all of the loose material and the dirt out of there. And it also helps to kind of moisturize the brick a little bit. And again, it's not about making sure it looks pretty, but just get those things filled up completely. All right, I'm just continuing on here. Again, I'm not trying to make it look pretty, I'm just trying to get it filled up. We'll make it pretty later. Right now, we just need to fill it completely. This is really important to do this because this is the structural integrity of this whole thing right here. And when you repoint brickwork, it adds strength to it and makes it last a lot longer. My mortar is starting to stiffen up a little bit, so I don't add water to it. I just take it and just play with it like that. And that loosens it back up again. All right, so what's left? I've got this big hole right here. So I'll just go ahead and shove it in there, completely full. Some of this mortar is dropping on the ground, and I'm not really too concerned about that because mortar is kind of expendable and fortunately doesn't cost too much. Now it's time to make it look better. So this is called a pointing tool, and it's designed to be able to rake the joints, which is what I'm going to do right now. So what that does is it pushes the mortar in and also gives it a nice kind of a concave shape. But the most important part is it's really pushing that mortar in there and making it firm and solid. And I'll do the verticals as well as the horizontals. Okay, right there I found a spot that needs more, so I can take some of this that fell out and just push it in with my fingers. Not a problem. I'll just go ahead and work it a little more. And this isn't really finished brick, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but I do like to make it look decent. Because the more it looks good, I don't know, it just feels good, right? I think that looks good enough for a foundation. So we'll let this set up and then come back after a while and do a little bit more work to it. When we built the brick planter, we made a habit of washing our tools every time that we made a new batch of mortar, whether it needed it or not, because it just helps keep things in good condition. And it doesn't take much, just a little water, rub the mortar off, let it dry, and do that to everything. The reason that my other tools rusted was because I made the mistake of leaving them out in the weather for 2 years and didn't put them away. So the weather had its way with my tools. Even though these tools are made of steel, you can get them wet. Just let them dry so they don't stay wet. And then finally, this thing here, I like to keep it clean because it's easier to mix when it doesn't have chunks all over it. I can feel chunks developing already and some grit. It's trying to stick to it. So it takes a little effort, yes, but it makes it a lot easier to clean and use next time around. Now that it's had a chance to set up a little bit, I'm going to come back with a brush and just brush off the crumbs. This also helps to kind of dress it up a little bit too. Touch anything up that needs touching up. Push anything that needs pushing in. And there we have it. But you say, wait a minute, Mike, you forgot something. Yes, I did. This is actually a corner post here, and it's not really part of this, even though it looks like it is. So I went ahead and left that one alone for now. If you look around, you'll see one here, one over there, just off to your right, and then there's another one over there and another one over there. Those 4 corner posts are the foundation for what used to be, we believe, an outdoor kitchen. And we have further evidence of this because of this foundation here, which we think was the foundation for a chimney. So, being the historic preservationists that we are, we really want to come out here and rebuild this. That's going to be a big job, but it'll be exciting and fun. And then, of course, that is the ice house, and somehow that has to be incorporated in all of this. But I think this ice house was probably built in the 20th century, given the history of this place. And then over here on the other side, like I said, I think there was some kind of a tractor shed. And since we have a tractor, it's a good place to put a tractor shed. And then we can get that thing out of the weather and get it out of the way. And then we can do more stuff over here. But that's a project for another day. All right, you guys, it's so good to see you all again. All 5 of you. 6, 7. Anyway, it's great to see you again. I wanted to share this little project with you, and it's getting dark out here, so I'm going to say farewell. We'll see you next time at 1834 Restoration House.